You know that feeling, the first real cold snap of the year hits? What's the first thing you blame for the chill? It's always the drafty windows, right? Or maybe that old furnace chugging away in the basement. Well, what if I told you the real energy vampire in your home is hiding in plain sight? We're about to pull back the curtain on winter's biggest hidden dangers, and we're using real advice from the pros who see this stuff every single day.
Oh yeah, we've all been there. You're bundled up inside, maybe even wearing a sweater, but you just can't shake that chill. Meanwhile, the heat is blasting, your energy bills are just climbing, and you're left wondering, what am I even paying for here? It is such a frustrating and super common winter story.
So naturally, you start thinking about big fixes. You're pricing out thousands of dollars for new windows, maybe a super high-efficiency furnace. But hold on. Just wait a second. What if those aren't the real problem? What if the biggest energy hog in your entire house is lurking somewhere you've barely even considered?
I want you to think about this for a second. Energy auditors, these are the folks who have been inside thousands of homes, they all say the exact same thing. In 99% of cases, the root cause of those comfort issues and those sky-high bills, it isn't downstairs. Nope, it's right above your head, in the attic.
Okay, so let's head up into the attic. Figuratively, of course. We are about to uncover the #1 hidden energy thief that's been costing you money and comfort year after year.
Let me give you a real-world example. There was this couple, and they were so excited. They bought a home just 2 doors down from their grandkids. I mean, the dream, right? But their first winter, it was totally miserable. It was cold, it was drafty, and it was expensive. They were actually starting to second-guess the whole purchase. That is, until an energy auditor came out and found some huge opportunities for improvement, all hiding right in their attic. And here is a number that should really make you sit up and listen. The EPA estimates that leaky ducts, you know the ones twisting through that very same attic, can waste up to 30% of your home's heated air. 30%! Think about what that means. You are literally paying to heat the inside of your walls and the sky above your roof. How crazy is that?
So, what did the auditor actually find up there? Well, it wasn't just one single thing. It was a combination of 4, let's call them critical failures. And these are the exact issues that were turning that couple's dream home into a winter nightmare.
Okay, so the audit laid it all out. 4 major problems. First, the ducts, totally uninsulated and literally coming apart at the seams. Second, the insulation was just a messy disaster full of gaps everywhere. Third, zero air sealing, which means countless little hidden cracks were just letting all that expensive heat escape. And finally, get this, the attic access hatch itself was a giant hole bleeding heat into the cold attic.
Let's just zero in on that messy insulation for a second. You know the traditional kind, right? The pink rolls of batt insulation. The problem is, it's almost never installed perfectly. It leaves all these little gaps and cold spots. That's exactly why auditors often recommend loose fill insulation instead. It's blown in, and it fills every single nook and cranny. It gets around the framing, the pipes, the ducts, everything. It creates a complete thermal blanket, which is way more effective.
Okay, so we fixed the attic. We've sealed it up tight to keep all that cozy heat inside. But here's the irony. That can actually create a new problem. See, all that heat that used to leak out into your walls and crawl spaces, it was accidentally helping to protect your pipes from freezing. Now that it's gone, we absolutely have to talk about the single most destructive winter disaster a homeowner can face: a burst pipe.
Yeah, $18,000. That is the average insurance payout for a single burst pipe from freezing. I mean, think about that. That's a new car, a kitchen remodel, a huge family vacation. All of it just washed away by what is most of the time a totally preventable disaster. It is one of the most common and costly claims out there.
So how do we prevent this catastrophe? Well, plumbers will tell you it really comes down to 4 simple things. Number 1, and this is the big one, know where your main water shutoff valve is before you have an emergency. Seriously, go find it. During a really cold snap, let your faucets drip just a little bit. Moving water is a lot harder to freeze. Open up those cabinet doors under the sinks, especially on outside walls, to let the warm air in. And finally, the one everyone forgets, disconnect all your garden hoses from the outside faucets. Okay, so why is disconnecting that hose so incredibly important? Let's break this down. With an older faucet, the water sits right there at the exterior, totally exposed to the cold, easy to freeze. But you might be thinking, I have a new frost-free spigot. Well, even with those, which are designed to shut the water off deeper inside the warm wall, there's a huge catch. That spigot has to be able to drain itself after you use it. If you leave a hose attached, it basically creates an airlock. The water gets trapped, it can't drain out, it freezes, it expands, and then it bursts the pipe. And not outside where you can see it, but inside your wall.
All right, we have tackled the two biggest threats, that hidden energy thief in your attic and the frozen disaster waiting to happen in your walls. Now, let's do a quick lightning round, a winter-ready checklist to protect the rest of your home. First up, inside, your furnace. Change that filter. A clean filter lets it breathe and run efficiently. Then head outside, especially after a heavy snow, and make sure its intake and exhaust pipes are totally clear. Now let's talk about the yard. Insulate any exposed pipes you see. And please, shut off and drain your sprinkler system. For your sensitive plants, cover them with fabric, not plastic. Plastic traps moisture and can actually make the freeze damage worse. And last but not least, look up. Trim any big branches that are hanging over your roof. A little bit of pruning now can save you from a massive headache later on.
So you've done all the prep work, you've checked all the boxes, but sometimes winter still wins. It happens. So let's shift gears and talk about your financial safety net. What happens if, despite your best efforts, winter still manages to cause damage to your home?
And please don't mistake this for a minor issue. We are talking about billions of dollars in insured losses from winter storms right here in the US every single year. This isn't just about being comfortable, this is about protecting what is likely your biggest financial asset.
Now, here is something really critical to understand about your insurance policy. While a burst pipe is usually covered, there's a catch. If the damage is due to a pre-existing issue or a clear failure to maintain, like say you go on vacation and turn the heat completely off in the dead of winter, it can make your claims process incredibly difficult. Insurers really expect you to take reasonable care of your property. So when you boil it all down, it really comes to this simple choice. You can have an hour of prevention, checking the attic, dripping the faucets, disconnecting that hose. Or you can have the massive headache, the expense, and the incredible stress of a major repair and an insurance claim. So the question is, which one are you going to rely on this winter? Proactive maintenance or an insurance claim?